In today's video, why I quit powerlifting.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I want to talk about my transition as a strength athlete, as a physique athlete, away from powerlifting, and kind of my journey through the sport and my takeaways and what I enjoyed about powerlifting, the reasons that I no longer compete or really put a lot of effort into powerlifting, and some of the things that I learned that I think might add value to you guys who are either currently powerlifting, considering it, or are interested in the future. I think there are some very valuable lessons that I have learned, and yeah, so let's discuss that. So let's talk first about why I got into powerlifting. In 2009, I competed in a natural bodybuilding show, earning professional status as a natural bodybuilder. Now, at that time, I felt I did not have enough muscle to compete with the pros. The one thing about, working your way up the amateur bodybuilding shows, you don't really come across crazy physiques, but when I saw the guys on the natural pro stage, I knew, man, I need to put on some size for that. And the big areas that I felt were my weakness were things like hamstrings, back, upper body density, and I thought, man, powerlifting would probably help that. And at the time, my friend Lane was really transitioning into doing a lot of powerlifting, and he had talked about the benefits of it prior to that, and so he was transitioning. And so I got into really competitive powerlifting in 2010. I did my first meet in 2010, and it was at this time that the powerlifting, I don't know if it was just me because I got involved in it, it seemed that way, but it just seemed like powerlifting took off. I remember going to a powerlifting meet in 2010 or 11, and there was like 30 or 40 people there, and going back the next year and there was like 160, and it just feels like it's continued. I know the USAPL has just exploded. I think they get over 1,000 lifters at their national meet. I've been to some of their regional meets where they have hundreds of lifters. I feel like the USAPL and even the other organizations have just really grown, and the strength of the powerlifting community has just exploded, and for a lot of good reasons. Powerlifting is such a great sport. So what I thought was, man, I'm going to transition into a bunch of squatting, deadlifting, and benching real heavy, and when I go back to bodybuilding, man, it's going to be so good for me. Well, this year I'm dieting down again for bodybuilding, but I'm no longer powerlifting. In fact, I'm not doing anything even similar to what I did during my powerlifting training, and I've noticed some much better results. I have more muscle. I look better. I am leaner at a heavier body weight. And so it really got me thinking recently, like, man, did powerlifting actually set me back when it comes to my physique goals? And I think the answer for me is probably going to be yes, and I'll talk about why. I think for me, the reason why powerlifting set me back was I am not built for powerlifting. So the answer why I quit powerlifting is I am not built for it. I know it's a great sport and there are some great benefits to it. I love the aspect of we train with a focus on performance, okay? Especially for many of my female clients that were previously like physique competitors, getting them into powerlifting, it's just great for the psyche to focus on hitting some PRs in the gym. You're focused on, hitting a weight versus what the scale says and defining you every day by that. So for that measure, I love powerlifting. What I've learned and the reasons that I wanted to do this video is because I felt like powerlifting for me was just a compilation of injury after injury after injury. Now, none of those injuries would be something that would send me to the hospital, but they were injuries that would force me to take time away from training. I would not be able to train for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. When you compound that over a couple of years, well, man, you can actually lose some lean body mass. And it wasn't until this year that I realized it. 2 years ago or so, I said, that's it, I'm done. I've had enough little, knee tweaks and back tweaks. I'm done with powerlifting. I want to be able to pick up my kids on a daily basis. I don't want to have to go to the gym and wonder, am I going to make it through this workout anymore? So I got rid of squatting, deadlifting. I still do some bench pressing, but I had always done that, but nowhere near the frequency or the volume that I was doing. And I've noticed that I'm just such a better athlete. I'm just such a better physique athlete this go around. And so I think when it comes to powerlifting for you, what you really need to look at, and this is something I do now with all my clients that are interested in competing at a high level in powerlifting, is looking at your leverages, looking at your movement patterns. There are certain conditions that allow athletes to remain really healthy when it comes to powerlifting. The squat and the deadlift in particular are two of the most demanding compound exercises there are. They put stress and strain on so many body parts and so many parts of the body that if any one of those break down as you progress, then you can get hurt. And the kind of injuries that we physique athletes get, I think I didn't realize the extent of how much it was impacting me because, I was always kind of going through rehab and, there was a turning point for me when I realized I'm actually spending more time in the gym foam rolling, flossing, meaning, using the bands to warm up, prehabbing, that I'm actually training. And, I've been spending some time with Doug Miller over the last couple of years. And, one thing that he's reminded me is that the reason he's never done powerlifting, even though he's extremely strong, is because he just loves to lift. He loves that feeling of being in the gym. And I think for a while, I got over the excitement of loving the lift because of the excitement of potentially putting on a bunch of muscle. And it just doesn't happen. I don't think it happens. I think, in my opinion, if you're going to be muscular as a powerlifter, you're also going to be muscular as a bodybuilder. Because again, as bodybuilders, we're not avoiding squats, bench, and deadlift. We're just not prioritizing them to the point where we work through injuries. I was actually taking anti-inflammatories, to help with my knee, icing my knees after training, like I said, foam rolling. These are things that you don't really want to be doing for the long term. And I got so caught up in the sport, I think I did 4 meets in total, that I think I just got caught up in that momentum and wanting to be a part of it. And now that I've gotten back to my roots of just going in the gym, bodybuilder style training, I still deadlift. I still train the crap out of my legs. And the reason I'm doing this video today is just something occurred. I hit a new low on the scale this weekend. I hit a 208.8, so sub 209, which for me is getting to the nitty gritty of prep. I'm probably gonna have to get, just below 200 pounds, but I've gotten there with a lot less effort than the last time I prepped for a bodybuilding show, which was 2012. I did men's physique in 2015, but the last time I got truly shredded was 2012, and I remember that entire prep having to avoid things like squat and leg press because my knee tendonitis, leg extensions, my knee tendonitis was so bad from all the powerlifting I had done that I could only do like one movement, like a hack squat, and I know I lost significant lower body muscle mass, but I didn't realize how much that impacted me until now. It's just been such a different animal training as a bodybuilder, and I still get tweaks. The difference between when you powerlift and you're in a training block leading up to a meet. Let's say you're 6 weeks out for the meet, and you go into training and you got squats that day, and you start warming up, and man, your knee's a little tight or your back's a little tight. You know what you do? You put on some icy hot, you floss that knee, you take some anti-inflammatories, and you get the shit done because you gotta get the volume, and you gotta get the training, and you gotta get the reps. The difference with bodybuilding is I go in today for a leg training session. If I'm warming up on the deadlifts and I don't feel a little right, well, guess what? Well, I move on to rack deadlifts or dumbbell stiff leg deadlifts, and I beat the shit out of that muscle using different techniques, okay? Talking about higher volume, some drop sets, okay? And then the next day when I come in and I train deadlifts and I warm up and it feels good, well, boom, that's when I'm gonna put 3, 4, 5 plates on the deadlift and feel good about it because I feel good. So I think that experience of just knowing when to push and when to pull back doesn't really apply as a powerlifter because you've just got to get the work in. The meet is this many weeks out. It's kind of like when you're in contest prep and you just got to get the cardio done because your show is in a few weeks and you got to get leaner, right? With powerlifting, you push through a pain tolerance that you probably wouldn't push through, and I know for a fact it led me to getting some just aches and pains. And I think the most noticeable thing for me was knee tendonitis and actually a really bad hip issue that are both gone now. They're both gone. I feel completely normal. I feel like I'm 20 years old again. I think powerlifting prematurely made me old. Maybe you guys can chime in if you've had that experience. So my point is not to bash powerlifting. I love it. I have clients that compete in powerlifting. Actually, I have 2 clients that I'll be at USAPL Raw Nationals with this year. But when I look at their video, they look very efficient, okay? Their bar path looks really good. They have a nice structure for powerlifting, and we've been able to avoid injury by reducing frequency, reducing intensity, going through different training blocks where we're focused on volume, we're focused on closer to our 1 rep max. You know, we're doing certain things, and I pay really close attention to how they're feeling, which is not something I personally did with myself when I was powerlifting. It was get it done, don't be a P word, right? It was just get the stuff done. You have to get in and get your work done, and you power through things. And I think over the long haul, that led to my detriment. And then, you know, the other thing about powerlifting for me is, you know, I did it for a couple of years, and I just wasn't making a ton of progress. Like I said, I think my leverage just kind of let me down. You know, my first meet, my squat was 380. Is that right? I think 380. And my last meet, my squat, I think the best squat I ever got was 415. Not a lot of progress, right? So my deadlift did go from like the mid 4s to 535, I think, at my last meet. So, I mean, I was making some progress, but I also felt it was not a good return on my investment. The time I was spending in the gym, you know, those powerlifting sessions can be 2-3 hours long, and the return on investment for muscle building just didn't add up for me. Plus, I didn't love it as much. I didn't like being in the gym and sitting and waiting for 3, 4, 5, 10 minutes between sets because your intensity, you're doing doubles with 95%. That wasn't fun for me. Now I'm having fun in the gym, and I have a little bit better physique. So if you guys are interested in me doing first of all, this video is over 11 minutes, so you're probably not listening to me ramble anymore. But if you're interested, I could do a physique update. I said I would do one when I got under 210 pounds. So comment below if you're interested in seeing a comparison between me now and me in my last physique update. I think I was somewhere in the 220 range. Should be a pretty significant difference. I might be doing one anyway, but just let me know. All right, guys, that's it. That's why I quit powerlifting. Great sport for certain people, but you got to know yourself well, and you know, pay attention to all the signs that your body is telling you. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Hope you're having an awesome Monday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All by myself.